Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, artists, and even Renaissance people. And we'll figure out what that means a little bit. I want to introduce my guest today, Jerry Lee, who is the founder and CEO of Artella Network. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jamil.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So let me ask you, so let me start off with the first question is this. What is your background and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I've been in crypto space for about 7 years, and before that, I spent most of my career in Silicon Valley. 12 years with Apple doing engineering and product design work. Then in 2017, I joined Ant Group. Used to be called Ant Financial, which I think today is still the largest fintech company in the world by a lot of metrics, 1 billion users, and a lot of transactions and asset management, all that. But that time, 7 years ago, I was leading the new technology team at Ant Group. We're looking at uh, the new technologies, different new technologies, how they can help uh, Ant Group's business going forward. And blockchain became apparent, um, a choice, something that's going to be a very important part of the future of the fintech. So that's how I got into it. I started working on blockchain technology. We built a team from very small, like 10 people, to a much larger, close to 1,000 people eventually. And we did a lot of blockchain technology development and some of the use cases, particularly within the Alibaba, the Ant ecosystem while I was there. Then about 18 months ago, I started Artella because we wanted to take our learning from building blockchain within Ant and take that and apply it to the larger outside world.
What is the Renaissance all about?
Yeah, Renaissance is the name that we give to our incentive user campaign. Artella is in public testnet phase. We actually have been in public testing for like a few months, but we started this incentivized user engagement and testing phase about a month ago, and this will last about 3 4 months before we do the mainnet launch later this year. So somewhere around September, we will do our mainnet launch. Uh, so yeah, we call it Renaissance is really because we feel like um, we want to bring back the good old days of crypto. I feel like uh, apparently this industry has been growing with a tremendous rate. But in a way, we feel like it's getting a little dull. We used to have ICOs. Last cycle we had NFTs, we had DeFi, a lot of innovations. But now this cycle, there's a lot of price movement and some meme coins, but we have not seen really meaningful breakthrough in terms of larger scale adoption in terms of applications. So that's something we want to see going forward because I think adoption is a key. And for Renaissance, we want to just bring back the original, the passion we had when we first came into this field and really keep building and um, just to bring the adoption to the crypto world.
I love the concept of the good old days. You and I came in at the same time.
Huh.
I came in as an ICO advisor. I want to get your take, your definition of what the good old days mean to you, and then I can share with
hmm
them what they meant to me.
hmm Yeah, I think when I first got into crypto, I read the Bitcoin, the white paper, and it just I was really amazed by it. And just in a way, I was shocked by how this could be done in a permissionless way. You can do the electronic payment and transactions without the middleman. So it was quite some innovative idea, and apply engineering principles, and you can build a larger scale network around it, right? So that was really cool. And when I first got into crypto, I was really hopeful for the future of this permissionless new wave of internet, called Web3, called blockchain business, what have you. But just this real fire, a passion about something new, right? And be able to be one of the early adopters and be part of the contributor. So that was the I guess what I would call the good old days. It's just getting inspired by this new wave of innovations.
I like that. I like the I can relate to the inspiration. The ICO days were fraught with, I guess, some of the same things that we're fraught with today.
Yeah, I mean, because this industry, in the grand scheme of things, is still very early. There are scams, there are fraud, there's just a lot of bubbles, right? But just underneath of all what's happening on the surface is really this amazing blockchain technology, and the potential to build the permissionless internet services for future. That's going to fix a lot of the issues we have today with these Web2 type of services. So yeah, I'm very, very hopeful for the future. I think that's the reason I started Artella, is trying to build a infrastructure that's really geared towards larger scale applications for really mass adoption. People talk about mass adoption, but really, if you look at the Web3 or crypto today, the number of users on-chain users are so small, right? It's not even, I see some numbers like maybe 5 million total users, but you can't really use DAU. It's just compared to Web2, it's so small, right? It's not even 1%. So I see we have a long way to go and to grow, and we need to keep building the solid ground for infrastructure. We also need to build some new innovative applications.
So we're kind of at a little bit of a fork then, or a little bit of a crossroads, right? Crypto could either remain a fringe industry, or it could get that adoption, right? It could go either way right now. What are the factors that would help us become adopted, and what are the factors that would help us stay as a fringe industry?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and adoption is the key word. How can we onboard the next million, or even tens of million, or hundreds of millions and billion users? That's the challenge this industry faces today, right? There's so much money has been invested into it, and a lot of very smart people started building for the last few years, but really, it cannot be something that's just limited in this small circle of people, right? We want to grow the industry. We want to bring in new users through new use cases, through just integration into some of the maybe Web2 like type of services, right? I think there are two key things. One is still the infrastructure that's far from being mature. If you look at today's L1 or L2, just blockchain space, all these blockchains are still not ready for mass adoption, right? Ethereum or Solana or whatever would have you, right? They're not ready for Web2 scale mass adoption. So there's a long way to go before we have a solid infrastructure like AWS, like or Google type of services, right? There's that. And another thing is how can we make the UI UX user friendly? So people, just everyday people like my mom, they would feel comfortable using these services instead of you have to use Connect Wallet, you have to wait for the transactions to go through, and sometimes they don't. Then sometimes you have to bridge using a different blockchain. It's just so confusing, even for people in this industry, right? And yeah, so yeah, I think it would come down to these two things. One is the infrastructure, another one is how do you design the UI UX to serve much larger scale of users.
It's always been the UI UX. It's always been an and a lot of devs are building what they think people want instead of asking people in Web2 what they want, what they need, right? So I want to talk. Yeah. I have some ideas that I want to run by you later. I want to jump into that word meme, right? I'm quoting you, and you saying Bitcoin is the world's largest meme coin, and I'm thinking like maybe it is. So I want to find out why you think that, and what can we do about it?
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. But when you this goes back to Satoshi's original vision. His white paper was titled Bitcoin, the peer-to-peer electronic cash payment system, right? Although Bitcoin as an asset has established itself to be, this digital gold narrative is pretty much ingrained, and it's getting a lot adoption with the ETF and all that, right? So that's great for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin as a blockchain is not really being adopted. I don't know about you. When was last time do you know anyone used the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So the technology adoption is really not there. So this is kind of like the meme coins that people talk about it, and maybe some of the meme coins get a lot of followers in certain communities, but nobody is really using these meme coins, right? There's no utility value to these meme coins. So in this way, I said, well, Bitcoin, if without meaningful adoption, it's just kind of like a meme coin, right?
Yeah, it is. Um, People use Bitcoin though to I guess people can use meme coins to buy things, right? Um, what do you think needs to happen in order to use the Bitcoin blockchain as a blockchain?
Well, yeah, this is interesting because even I think a few years ago, last cycle, the people were building payment rails on top of Bitcoin, right? Gosh, I don't remember what's the name of the Lightning. Well, of course, Lightning. See, people forget it, right? Lightning was supposed to bring this cheap, fast payment on top of Bitcoin when people can transact with SAT, right? It has not materialized. Even I had trouble just thinking about the name. So that just tells you that Bitcoin as a blockchain to support larger scale, users to transact anywhere in the world. This has not become a reality, and probably the way this is going, it will not be a reality going into the future. It may be something else. It's probably not Bitcoin. It could be some other blockchain network or network of blockchains. It does not necessarily have to be one chain. It could be just all these blockchains. Somehow they form a global settlement layer that is super fast and secure. and anywhere you go, you don't need to understand what's the underlying network or protocol. You can just use it in a permissionless way to transact freely with your stablecoin or any token of your choice, as long as you both could agree on it, right? So I see that being the future. It does not necessarily have to be Bitcoin being part of this payment or settlement layer. Bitcoin is kind of its own thing. In a way, it's not innovating that much, which could be which is not necessarily a bad thing for Bitcoin, right? Because the digital gold narrative is so well accepted already.
I think, I mean, yeah, it's great. It's great for investing,
Yeah.
But there are three schools of thought here as far as payment. And you might be thinking of another one, but I'm going to ask about them. One of the schools of thought is Hedera. Another school of thought, stable coins like Tether, and another school of thought, one that I subscribe to, is Litecoin. Would be like if Satoshi were writing the white paper today, one of those three avenues would be one of the ones that people would go down. What do you think?
I don't have a preference here, Ajmal. I think we're so early. I think the future is still it's so early to predict for what the end game of this, but I think eventually it's going to be a network of blockchains. It's not one chain. I know, but which chains we don't know. I'm certainly hoping Artella will be part of that. It will be a network of interconnected blockchains. These chains are compatible. They talk to each other. They are decentralized. And a user does not care and does not need to know what's underneath what blockchain they use. The application will automatically route through the easiest, the cheapest, the fastest way. This is like global interconnected web for values, right? That's the future I see.
I like it. How do you bring together these chains that are so disparate, where communities are fighting each other, like the Ethereum community, Solana community fights the Avalanche community? How do you create a network? How do you do it like that, where everybody's working together?
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges that's facing the industry. Is you have these tribes fighting for the narrative, the position in the market. But I think it's so early, and sometimes it's energy wasted getting into these fights. We all need to build together, and compatibility is important. Eventually it's going to be all interconnected. You cannot just build a silo and just limit yourself to this small community or this, because eventually it's all about network effect, right? You want to be connected to everyone in the world, and everyone can easily have access to this this network of values, a network that's permissionless, right? That's the key ethos of blockchain. So the standards will probably take time to play out as far as being interconnected, being compatible, and we talk about DeFi being a money Lego, right? But I see on the protocol level, it should also be a protocol Legos. That's how they can talk to each other, and then they can route through each other. Only you are open to this, the future, the vision of the future. It could be integrated into this interconnected the web. That you can. I think that's the way the project, the infrastructure project can survive, can be relevant for future. Yeah.
I want to talk about the protocol level, right?
Mhm.
So there are some people, quite a few people out there. I don't know if you had a chance to go to Consensus this year, but I talked to a number. I went for the first time in person. Um,
Mhm.
I talked to a number of people there who think that on the protocol level, zero knowledge could be the next gateway to the next 100 billion people. What can be built on zero knowledge, and why could that be a catalyst for the next exciting time in crypto?
Yeah, I think ZK is important to scale blockchains and to solve some of the on-chain, off-chain interaction and on-ramp. Um, um, but uh, that's only still that's one piece of the many puzzles we need to put together. Some of the others, like you need to solve the storage issue because the blockchain they cannot continue to grow, take too much computing resource, right? Another thing is how to scale these blockchains in a dynamic way, meaning you serve eventually you want to serve the applications that's on top of the blockchain, that's taking advantage of the blockchain's capabilities, right? You don't want to waste your block space, but you want to scale it in a dynamic way that's kind of like the cloud service in the analogy, more elastic, right? You want to have the performance to meet the peak hour, like in China we call it Double 11, the shopping festival, right? At that peak hour that you have millions, tens of millions of orders coming. Or similarly in America, it would be Black Friday, right? The transactions just go through the roof, right? So it needs to be elastic, it needs to be dynamic, and you don't want to waste all these block spaces when the demand is low, right? So yeah, so ZK is only part of it, and the storage and the dynamic scaling. I think all these will take more technical breakthroughs to get there. Uh, people have been talking about zero knowledge for a few years. I think quite a few projects are getting close to have breakthrough there. But one thing about ZK is still it's very computing intensive. So yeah, so it's not necessarily all the transactions you would need a ZK. Not necessarily it would be applied to 100% of the use cases. Yeah, I think it needs to be coupled with some other technologies as well.
It's interesting you talk about the storage, and you couldn't remember the Lightning Network thing. But there's another thing that came out in Bitcoin in the past few years called Taproot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to
Yeah,
have storage capacity, right?
right.
Um, how effective has that been? And are other chains building something similar? And how do you how could that be a vector for growth?
Jamil, I have not quite followed Taproot or some of the new or Bitcoin ecosystem L2 that closely. Um, I am on the camp that maybe just leave Bitcoin alone. Just uh, yeah, digital gold, that's good, great investment vehicle. That's also getting a lot of new adoptions. So for traditional people, so that's all good. Um, I think fundamentally, if you want to have a blockchain as the decentralized computing platform, probably Bitcoin is not the best choice. You want to have built a smart contract platform. So I would look at some newer chains instead of although I cannot be so sure because there are some new interesting projects on Bitcoin L2 recently though.
There are ordinals. I don't understand them at all. Um, you know, um, I want to talk. There is one vector that is been gaining steam. I thought it was a long tail, but it looks like it's been hot recently, and people are like clamoring for an AI summer. What's your thoughts on AI being
Mm,
either an blockchain or a catalyst for blockchain?
mm. Yep. Yeah, that's a very good question. That's one topic people have been talking a lot in this industry. Um, I think eventually AI and crypto will converge. When you think of AI, um, what does the best is to creating new um, um, just digital abundance, I call it, because the generative AI, they can generate new, just like videos, the pictures, or just so many things, right? The AI can do, right? Um, then what blockchain does really well is to create digital scarcity, right? AI needs a lot of computing power, and a blockchain as a decentralized computing platform, um, at its core, compared to centralized cloud service, for example, the blockchain will always be less efficient. But what blockchain does the best is to bring more trust. Blockchain will be more trustworthy. So that I think that's going to solve some of the issues that AI eventually will come to face. Because AI creates, you can create so many new content, new images, videos, all that. What's real, what's not real. That's going to be a challenge um, in the future. Oh, well, it's already happening, right? You see a video, but you don't know if it's real or fake, right? Um, but I see a combination where number one, blockchain can help address some of the what's real, what's not real problem. Number two is that blockchain can help create new business models with these AI creation or AI agent.
I was thinking all along that Bitcoin closes the trust deficit between Web 2 and Web 3. And what you just said, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have been thinking about Bitcoin doing it. I should have been thinking about the blockchain doing it, because AI creates mistrust and blockchain closes the trust deficit. So it works to validate
Right,
what's real and fake.
right. And not only that, not only what's real, what's fake, but I think some of the new business models, uh, you know, um, will emerge at the junction of AI and crypto.
That might be the next exciting thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about, what you said in the beginning about your I have a couple more questions. One is your testing you're testing right now. People are
Mm-hmm.
helping you test your net. How's that going? What do you need still more people testing? What's the status of it?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, Artella has been in public testnet phase for a couple of months, and I'm happy to report that we recently crossed 200,000 in just individual participants in our campaign, and we want to see more of that. We are going into the second phase, our testnet July, early July. So in a couple of weeks, it will be second phase. So we'll bring more applications that's built on top of Artella's blockchain. It'll be some of the more interesting applications that we've been working on. People are welcome to come to our website, artella.network, to check it out. Um, it's been a very exciting few months because we released the public testnet, just battle tested because with the bots, the new applications, there different data services we had issues with, but I'm happy that Artella testnet is getting stronger, and I feel very confident we're going to have a successful launch going into the mainnet launch.
I look forward to it. I want to thank you very much for your time today. I enjoyed speaking with you. And my final question is, how can people find out more information about you and about Artella Network?
Artella, ARTELA .network is our website, and Artella Network is very active on Twitter. There's a lot of informational topics and materials that we publish through our Twitter and through our website. Myself, Jerry.art. I'm also on Twitter, so I do welcome to
Thank you very much for your time today.
Sure. Nice talking to you, Jamil. Thank you for having me.